3, 2, 1. Oh, you're already live. Okay.
Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run.
We have a so we use a Rode mixer board, which is cool, which allows us to do stuff like the sound thing. And then we all the mics and everything go into that. But it took us about, let me see, we're on episode
26.
We're on episode 26. It took us a good 8 episodes
to fine tune it,
but to work out all the bugs.
Yeah,
Man.
it was especially when we had our first guest on.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Souza.
Yeah, Matt Souza.
He is a champ.
There's stuff like the echoes, like you got to make sure stuff's off on your computer because you're using the Rode mixer for your sound input. And then you got to, when you plug in an external camera, that external camera's got to show up on your computer. Some, computers get finicky. Sometimes they don't want to recognize new devices. It's just.
Yeah, we're about 20 episodes in now, and I spent a solid month spending way too much time, way too many hours devoted to finding the optimal setup. And it was like, all right, I have Zoom, 100, probably $200 between the mic and the headphones. I was like, we're gonna roll with it.
Yeah, if anybody's starting this or thinking about doing any of this, the key components are sound. Someone told me that, and lighting, and it's true. And most of the newer computers have pretty damn good cameras, and then you can set it up like Jason has his setup. I'm sure it's up on a platform. So his computer, he probably has I'm guessing you have a remote keyboard or mouse that are below it, and then the computer itself is up high.
Yep.
So it gives him that kind of nice studio appearance.
Gives him that look that he's actually looking at us.
And this is
Keep looking at us.
And this boom, whatever this thing is called, just clamps to my desk. I was wearing it on calls with clients, and it evidently they're very intimidating, these things. So I just go to the AirPods when not podcasting.
Yeah, same here. If I go to a Zoom call, I won't wear the headset, but the headset's so nice in terms of because you can hear yourself talk better.
Yep.
And then it's so Zoom works good for Zoom calls, and then podcast stuff is kind of just we use StreamYard Podcaster. It's pretty cool.
It's been good. It's been good.
Anyway, so welcome. I don't want to take too much because I know his time is limited, so we gotta roll here. Jason Falcon owns and runs Falcon Nutrition, and we've been partnered with him now for how many years have we been working together?
2019 is when I started my company. I was lucky to coach a lot of the Diablo people leading up, prior to that. So it feels like a long.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because we've worked together with a lot of like my personal clients, and they've worked with you on the nutrition side. And I remember when you did switch it over to Falcon Nutrition, because you were somewhere else beforehand.
Yeah, he was at Stronger You.
That's
for
right,
many years.
Yep.
And so
throwback.
Yeah, Jason, he'll probably correct me here, but for the most part, he's helping our clients understand nutrition and understand the components that go into healthy nutrition, breaking it down into macronutrients, and then helping them make the right choices to achieve the outcomes that they want, whether it be performance, whether it be aesthetics, and those types of things. I looked at your numbers recently, which is on your website, which is falconfnc.com, and go there and maybe, Jamie, if you can put that in the comments, that'd be awesome. falconfnc.com. You guys have 10 coaches. You're serving, we have clients in 48 states, 11 countries, and over 3,400 satisfied clients.
Yeah. Awesome. Now that's the historical perspective. I would like to say we can handle all of that at present. Not so much. Though we're a fine-tuned.
I got you. But the only reason I pointed that out really was to kind of validate your capacity as a nutrition coach. And what I really wanted to talk about today, because we have 2 audiences here that watch our podcast. One is our community, Diablo community, and they already know, many of them already know and understand you and are making referrals from within in and amongst themselves. Scroll down to the numbers, Jamie, since you've
there you go.
Yeah,
it's a nice counter.
And so so our community is, and then there's the affiliate community that we talk to as well. And the affiliate community that we talk to, some do offer nutrition coaching, some don't. CrossFit in itself is a big advocate of providing nutrition coaching for clients, and CrossFit, the 100 Words of Fitness, and begins with a prescription for healthy nutrition. Eat meat, vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries, some fruit, some fruit, little starch, no sugar.
Come on, you should know that.
I'm actually impressed because I didn't.
He was scrolling at the same time. I give him credit.
No, I didn't write it down. I wasn't even trying to read it. But CrossFit itself, and what I wanted, the point I wanted to make here is I wanted to talk to you about why you think it is that many people prefer to have a nutrition coach separate from their gym coach
in person.
Right. And then I want to talk to and make the case for our relationship and really kind of want to encourage other affiliates to do the same for various different reasons. But if you had to look at your client base, so you got, all of these clients that you're doing business with all of your coaches, your nutrition coaches that you have working for you, how many of those have relationships with a gym or partnership with it, or how many of those have a gym that they go to on a regular basis, and how many are just essentially people that are just seeking out nutrition coaching?
At any given time, the majority of people are doing some form of workouts. They're a member somewhere. At various times, the percentage may be closer to 50-50, but most of the times, overwhelming majority of people come to us. At the start, my company name is technically Falcon Fitness and Nutrition. The first year or so, I was doing workout programming for people. I hated stepping on toes because we do have a handful of gym partners. But more than that, most everyone has the workout side of things figured out. It was they really needed help on the nutrition side.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so on the fitness side, by the way, Jason is an experienced CrossFitter, knows all about it, which is another reason why we chose to partner with him. And then he's also an accomplished endurance athlete as well, and knows and understands that side, which is super valuable in terms of coaching clients on nutrition and then coaching them for performance as well. And understand what clients need. Do you find between the two, your endurance athletes that you coach and your, say, CrossFit athletes and strength athletes that you coach, is there a huge difference in the, I guess I'll say, the macro content that you're prescribing to those individuals? And do your principles vary much between those two different types of athletes?
They're probably more similar than they are different. It's amazing, really, even zooming out from that and just adding like a third category of Gen Pop, the principles are super, super, super similar. They're going to be very close for all three groups. How they're spending their training time is what's going to differentiate. So endurance people will probably be using like an intra formula where while they're actually out running for hours or cycling for hours, they'll be fueling during. CrossFit, sometimes there'll be, intra formula used. Typically, it's really, really making sure we're fueling up beforehand and then recovering the right way afterward. Probably two of my favorite groups to work with because they're used to doing things that are they require some level of effort, but then they also have the extreme benefit of feeling the effects of their fueling. We work with plenty of sedentary people who get great results, but mostly they're looking at metrics and numbers and measurements, whereas you take one of your CrossFit athletes, they feel, they're an ongoing case study of their own body of okay, that was a big move.
That is an interesting thing with CrossFit. As soon as you start cleaning things up in your diet, and I noticed that myself, but I heard that just recently from someone here that is actually one of your clients, said the same thing. I started feeling, after a couple of weeks, I felt it today in the workout. I felt better. I felt the energy that I was missing, where I was feeling sluggish, slow. And that is one thing about CrossFit is with the intensity of CrossFit.
There's nowhere to hide.
It exposes a
gives
lot.
you,
Yeah.
gives
Yeah.
you instant feedback on how you feel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's why I love it, because it really, you can't cheat it. Like, you're going to find out how it's working for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's very, very valuable. You know, remote coaching is an interesting thing. We have a coaching app we use to see all the metrics, but like truly how someone's feeling when they're reporting into us is the most important piece of feedback.
Yeah.
And our high dollar coaching app does not tell us how someone's feeling. We rely on the communication.
I guess
That's like,
go ahead.
that's like the one thing. I mean, we eat for nutrition, we eat for fuel, right? Like
Yes.
we're fueling our energy, we're fueling our recovery. And if you're not able to get that one metric, like it's, you know, positive, static, or declining.
Yep.
That is, I'm surprised that the app doesn't have that as an option. Like, even if it's smiley face or a thumbs up.
There sort of is. A lot of people, you know, they work it's kind of funny. They work so hard. And then like check-in day rolls around, time to really put everything in. And they're in such a time pinch that they're like, hey, week was good, thanks. And I'm like, whoa. No. like let's actually have a conversation here. And we end up, if we really want to know how someone's feeling, we dig a lot to the point of probably being annoying. But once they understand why we're asking those things, or when they have a week where last week they wish they would have told us how they were feeling, then they start to be very like open with that communication. And it really is the part that matters the most.
Oh yeah, absolutely. To that end, this is the part I wanted to talk about. And I actually want to get to two things. I want to get to talk about this, our relationship, why it works for our member base, why our members like using a remote coach. And then I also want to talk to you. I want to finish up with, before you leave, about your philosophy on daily activity and steps, because you've been putting a lot out on social media, and we're like-minded, and I want to get your perspective on it as well. On the relationship side, we've had nutrition coaches here hired at Diablo Precision Nutrition, coaches primarily that were, you know, making a little bit of money. They were coaching classes, CrossFit classes, and making a little bit of money, but it wasn't very sticky. Yeah. In other words, those members didn't stay on board with their nutrition coaching with our coaches very long. And we had good people. And Jennifer Ismar was one of them. And it was somewhat frustrating, because I know that nutrition is an important part of kind of especially aesthetic changes, but also performance changes. Like if you really want to lose weight, it's, you know, everybody knows, you know, 70 to 80% of it happens in the kitchen.
And it's also the base foundation of the pyramid for the CrossFit pyramid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When you look at
such a big part.
Yeah. Which originally I almost like objected to. I'm like, you can out train a bad dad. No, you can't. Especially as you age like me. But to that end, I was, you know, I kind of had an epiphany moment when I was driving in a car. We had a number of our members that were your clients before we even had a formal relationship. And I was coming back from a Spartan race, and Carolyn Saputo was in the car with me. And Carolyn Saputo is a very kind of blunt, direct person, and which really makes her enjoyable and funny.
I was going to say, we need more of those people.
Yeah. And I asked her, I said, you know, she was talking about how she's lost weight, and there's other girls in the car that were like, oh, and they were asking her questions. Oh, tell us about it. You know, how's you really doing? I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm trying to, you know, to kind of talk about how we can help you with that at Diablo. And I said to Carolyn, Carolyn, there's so many people who was stronger than you at the time, and they're doing this around remote coaching. Why are you doing it with them? Why not Jennifer Ismar's right here? You can walk in, and you get a scale, and then prescribe the fitness along with it. And she said to me, and it really is kind of the reason why we started this relationship, because it kind of summed it up in one statement. And she said to me, well, I don't want to run into my nutrition coach in the fucking grocery store.
Yeah, there you go.
And I thought about that, and it's more profound than that, because the other part of it is, okay, sending pictures to your coach of your body, right? Okay. Running into them in the grocery store, right? Because then you got to explain, and then also running into them in the gym. You know, you have a bad week of eating, and you've got to see them face to face. That's a very difficult thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And you essentially, I think, put your client more in control of themselves by having a remote coach. Accountability is important. But so is self-reliance.
Yeah.
And self-reliance, I think, can happen with, you know, remote accountability.
Yeah.
because there's apps now, there's cameras, there's all of that stuff. At the end of the day, it's going to be the client's responsibility to make those changes. And
Right.
and that was kind of an aha moment for me. And I talked to Yvonne about it, my wife, and told her what she said. She said, "Oh, absolutely." She goes, when I put Tostitos in the basket at Safeway because our daughter likes Tostitos, it's her treat.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm literally looking around. Like, I do not want to run into anyone on the way out the door at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I get that. Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to, feel guilty about every single little decision, because then that'll turn you off. And that creates, I think, in the long run, food issues.
100%. Yeah. When you start hiding things. Can I jump in there?
Yeah, please.
So you know how you just see some random things in life and they stick with you and they're like little, not very meaningful things. There was and we could really go deep here. Like you can pull me back out of the rabbit hole. 7th grade English class, there was a sign that my teacher had like above her desk, and it said, "Character is what you do when no one's watching." And that thought just came back into mind when you said that. The goal when someone works with us isn't to be the best macro tracker for 3 months and then, all right, thanks, coach. I'll take it from here and go back to whatever they were doing. The goal is to use what we teach you, keep building on it, and then self-efficacy, right? Like stay using these things you learn in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be exact. The amounts will change. Most of the principles will probably be here, but you do need that layer of distance, that layer of separation. I was doing a podcast with my buddy Jeb, and he called it just self-trust. If you never get the chance to practice these things with just you, it's very difficult to actually build the skills. If you're forever riding the bike with the training wheels, even if you think you can do it, if you never actually pop them off, can you ride the bike? Sort of the same deal. And then from a different perspective, something I was not very good at when I started out with my company solo is, and where I progressed, what I do often now is I'm a consumer for pretty much everything in the same world that everyone else is. So like when I'm the client, I don't want to go work out with my nutrition coach. And if it's like a Friday night workout and they go, "Hey, we're going out, you know, come grab a drink or eat." No, not really. I don't want to do that with you, nutrition coach, because you're going to judge me. Like
Right.
the separation hurts. Accountability is a funny word. A lot of people, it's like the fear factor. It's like they put this remote person up on a little bit of a pedestal, like they've got it all figured out, and this is like the god of nutrition. It's like, we don't have anything proprietary. We haven't found the one weird trick that no other company's found. We have found the math and science that works. And literally what we do with every single person is break down their lives, their routines, their responsibilities. And we take what we think is going to be the most helpful bits of the math and science and apply it to them and teach them how we're doing it. So it's not like there's nothing that's hidden behind the curtain. It's they're privy to all of it. And that way they can stay moving forward with it. That was a lot. I don't even know if I answered your question.
No, you did in a great way,
Yeah.
actually, and it's very similar to how we deliver fitness here at CrossFit.
You got to do it to feel it. You got to feel it to
right,
learn it.
And and we take the components of CrossFit that we know work really well, and we expose you to it, we educate you on it, and then it's up to you to come in and get it done.
I mean, in the beginning too, like we always talked about, like our goal is to teach somebody how to move well, so that they can do that on their own in the garage if they need to.
Yeah,
we're here for the community.
If someone leaves us and goes and ends up working out in the garage, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
that to me is a victory. Like I've recruited, and now I've made room for someone else to come in and learn.
Yeah, they can come back whenever they want and still perform
well. And then what happens, and I'm sure what happens with you, and I know it happens because I see it happen within our community. When they're successful with you, Jason, they talk about it to other people. Yeah, and so then they get curious. Yep. They either reach out to you, or maybe they learn on their own, or maybe they find another nutrition coach that offers similar sciences, or methodology that you do, and they get it done themselves. That's awesome. That's what we want. The more people that get healthy, the better.
Yeah.
Our relationship, by the way, so affiliate owners know, people would say, well, this is crazy. All I ask of Jason is that he give Diablo members a good deal, a discount on what they does. And he does. And he's always done that. Diablo doesn't receive any compensation. And that for me at first was like, and some, affiliate consulting firms go, why would you want to do that? Well, the reason is this, our business here is gym memberships. We're really, really good at CrossFit and coaching CrossFit and transforming people's lives with CrossFit. If they make successful changes, aesthetic changes or fitness changes as a result of the nutrition coaching that they receive with Falcon Nutrition, they associate that with Diablo. Like it's one more thing that ties with us, and it keeps them coming in. They're excited about it. Now I've lost weight. Now I'm leaner. I can do more
They're
gymnastics.
moving well. Yeah.
Yeah, they're moving well. All of that stuff they associate with us, which means they continue to pay their membership more, and then they encourage others to participate as well. So we get more.
Well, and their friends and family also see the physiological changes happening there, and it's like,
so it's an investment in my business. So I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to try and track who came to you, how many did you get, and you didn't send me your check this month. None. I don't have to worry about any of that. All I got to do is send them to Jason. They get better, and then they want to stay with us longer.
And it works both ways.
Yeah.
Like as the nutrition partner, if you guys do your job well, I look like a stud. If I do my job well, you look like, I know what they're getting at Diablo.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no, I don't have to, okay, well, do you have a rec center near you, or can you get in the YMCA? It's like, all right, boom. That's an easy discount to give to all those people. Cause I know you guys do an amazing job. Like I see the Friday Night Lights post. I see how the community comes together for pretty much everything. We won't talk about lockdown and how the community rallied then, but like clearly community is an amazing thing. I absolutely love that. The part that kills me most about social media going the way it has is how like the community aspect of it and groups and everything are just like falling off.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So I would encourage affiliates that are out there, don't stress about, look, if you've got a coach that's doing it and you're doing it, that's awesome. Good for you guys. Right. But if you want to get into it, I would say find someone like Falcon Nutrition or Falcon Nutrition, call them up and create a referral source. And he's on our website. If you click on nutrition website, it's Jason's stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's so easy. And then I've got lots of members that are participating. And when people come in and say, hey, do you have nutrition coaching? Yes, I do. Falcon Nutrition Company. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the last thing, because I know you got to go in a couple minutes, and I'm sorry, we're gonna have Jason on again, and I convinced him to go, even though he only could give us about 20-25 minutes.
Take it.
I've been
the only time someone books a call is when I have something right before. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's quite all right, because they just give them just enough to get you back, and that is the number of steps during the day. This is something that I've started to focus on more, and I noticed the Starettes, Juliet Starrett, Kelly Starrett, and they've even got a book out now about moving. And that is, I'm finding, like, so crucial, almost more than just doing CrossFit in a day. If you just moved all day,
get in the step.
You get in the steps with proper nutrition, like the weight's going to fall off. And it's been my personal experience, because I walk the dogs in the morning, walk the dogs in the evening, and I just don't worry about. Same with Yvonne; she moves all day long. What are your thoughts on that? And the other day you parked in a parking lot really far away. You said, don't stress about trying to, go out and go for your walks, or, go for 3 miles, but just make it part of your lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, piece it together. The same advice you would give. I live in a big military area, ton of Navy here in Virginia Beach. So like in your context, CrossFit box, one of your members deploys and they're worried about, well, the gym on board is horrible and every reason they can't work out. And you just said, all right, every time you walk back in your bunk room, 20 air squats, 20 push-ups, 20 lunges. Just do that circuit every time you walk through that door threshold. Are you going to be in CrossFit shape? No. Are you going to be in a lot better shape than when you come back? Had you not done that? Absolutely. And you're probably going to eat better because you're taking care of your body, like it's momentum. As this stuff goes, and because you kind of called yourself out, you said if you walk enough, maybe even before CrossFit, I would throw what I do in there. I truly think walking is that powerful. It
really is.
You can slack that much. You shouldn't, but you can on the workout and the nutrition side. My theory is if one walks 15,000 steps a day or more, they probably will never be able to hold on to body fat. If they're overweight, they'll get down to a healthy weight range. Once there, they'll probably have to eat more with purpose to not keep losing weight. So in that example of body weight movements, everyone we work with, we never jump them to like X step count because that's the gold standard. It's where they're at and how do we baby step them up to that, whatever we think is right for them over time. Maybe like 500 or 1,000 added to their daily average every week or every couple of weeks, depending on how they're managing it, their time, how their body's reacting. But a lot of the feedback we'll get is, well, dude, like I have kids, I have a job, I can't go walk for 2 hours. I can't go walk for 2 hours either, but you can collectively walk for probably a lot longer than you realize if you do 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 12 minutes, 6 minutes, just literally piece them together. What I'm doing right now, like there's a walking treadmill right beside me. because I knew it would be picking up my steps if I was walking while I was on here. And I'm not walking on that for 8 hours, but a half hour here, another hour in the afternoon, like little things like that added up. And it does not take a long time to get to 10, 12, 14, 15,000 steps. The most valuable real world example, and I will gladly run over to give this one, seasonal workers during the holiday seasons, when we're coaching people and we've been coaching them for a year, 2 years, and they get a job at Target, 20 hours a week during the winter holidays. Those people inevitably end up, even if they're in a fat loss phase, we have to add food in. They're eating crazy amounts of food because they've turned from a 6,000 to 7,000 step a day office worker to now they're hitting 20,000 the days they're working at Target.
Wow.
And they are just, weight is,
jump.
Yeah, it's crazy, but they're not thinking about it. It's not this task they have to do for the purpose of walking. It's a byproduct of these tasks that I'm having to complete at work. So they're not stressing over it. It's just happening naturally. They're losing to the point where we have to add to slow down the losing. And then January hits and that job goes away. And what happens? Their steps come back down. That food that we were giving them is now way too much. So it really is that. And these are like, 45, 50-year-old women, some guys. It's not young athletes with these crazy metabolisms. It's walking is that powerful.
I can't emphasize this enough to our community and others outside. And it's something that Yvonne and I did kind of unconsciously just because we had dogs. And we felt guilty. And what's great about a dog is if you want to establish a habit with a dog like walking, take them once.
Oh, yeah. It sticks.
The next day at that time, they'll be looking at you
for you.
Yeah.
I say joking, if you just can't get your NEAT up, if you can't get the steps in, have a baby or get a puppy.
Yep.
Both of those, ideally not both at once, but
and NEAT is the one that if you watch I think it's Peter. No, it's a Huberman with Andy Galpin talk about nutrition, and they talk about NEAT, which is non-exercise
activity. Thermogenesis. Yeah,
thermogenesis, right?
Yeah,
and that is
I think
absolutely crucial to fat loss.
Atia does talk about it a bit. I've got a video. I don't know if there's like show notes, but I've got a YouTube video I made on it. It's 25% of our daily calorie burn versus exercise 10%.
Will you please send that to me, and then I'll send it. I'll post it to our community.
Absolutely.
I'm going to let you go because I know you got your appointment. I appreciate your time, and I'm going to bring you back in a couple of weeks, and I want to delve more into this topic with you.
Awesome. And likewise, both of you, please come on to mine.
Yeah, we're going to, I'll book a time and we're going to come onto your podcast.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
All right. See you guys.
Cheers. Bye.
All right. Cool. That was good. I could spend more time with him.
Yeah.
Man, he speaks well too. And I love this point there. The moving throughout the day is really the one. And there's so many things in our society today that want to keep us immobile.
Yep.
From Netflix to our phones to,
I think of it even back to like the heater, right? Now you can just push a button and it gets hotter.
Right.
Versus having to go and chop the wood.
Well, you're right.
Carry the wood.
Same thing with food prep and everything else. Like
it's just added.
It's civilization.
Yeah.
I do. And I talked to your wife, Christy, and you guys walk the kids to school, and she backpacks.
Yeah, she rucks.
Yeah,
she rucks with Anderson on the back.
With Anderson, which is Anderson's.
He's thick, but
he's thick.
It's honestly for us, it's not too big of a walk. But I mean, even just like you said, fit it in where you can. If you're driving around a parking lot looking for a parking spot,
park far away.
It's not that big of a deal. No. You can get your parking spot right away.
What's interesting about it too, I find with the walks that I do now, and there's always some apprehension, especially when it's cold or rainy or those things. Like I'm like, I'm just not going to go today. But then I go, and it literally now. It's almost like the cold plunge. The first 20 seconds, 30 seconds suck. Well, with walking, it's like the first 10 seconds. It's just the prep. As soon as literally I get my dogs, I leash them up, and it's cold outside. Like this morning was cold, and I got out. I closed garage door. As soon as that garage door closed, and I took 3 steps and turned on the sun. Oh my God, I'm so glad I did this.
Yeah.
Like you just
immediate satisfaction.
Immediate satisfaction. And then in the evenings, I take them in the evenings just because it helps them sleep better. And we only go for like 10 minutes.
I was
Maybe,
gonna say you're not doing as big
no.
of a walk in the evening time.
No, we go around the block 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. And but as I've been reading more about this, that's a huge it burns off glucose and it helps the whole metabolic process of processing food and preventing fat storage. Just that after going for a walk after dinner, like literally they say you shouldn't sit down right after dinner. The articles are saying now that you shouldn't sit down.
The food coma.
And all you need to do is go for like literally a minute or two, and it can help improve the whole process of how glucose is processed within your system, whether it gets stored as glycogen or whether it gets stored as fat. Just instantly moving starts this process of like, oh, we're going to need energy. We're going to need to use what we've got.
Energy,
we got to start shuttling some energy usage, which is, helps prevent, fat gain.
Yeah.
And anecdotally, and I pay attention to this because I know all the dogs in the neighborhood when I go for walks in the morning, but I look at everybody. I know like all the people that go out between 6:30 and 8 a.m. We all kind of know each other.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows the guy with the big dude with
hi, what's up?
With the big dude with 2 huskies. Like everybody knows my dogs, and everybody knows. And I know, like I literally, and I see the same people. So there's probably every day I go, I recognize 90%, maybe 99% of the people that I see out there. Like I've seen them before.
Yeah.
Which kind of bums me out because that means there's no new people coming in, right? So it's all kind of the same people. And it's not
a repeat.
Believe me, surprisingly between 6:30 and 8 a.m. It's not that many people. And the other thing I notice about them is their body composition. Just anecdotally, it's everybody's thin.
A little bit leaner. Yeah, leaner.
Everybody, every single one, all ages. And these are the people that are just hooked on walking.
Yeah.
Or they have dogs or something that they're walking. And granted, unfortunately, with our busy lifestyles and commuting back now, and and kids going to school, it is very difficult.
Isn't as
Jason said,
available.
And that's where we have to. I think it's just as important to changing your macros as it is to make that habit. Find that place. Maybe when you drop the kids off from school, instead of you drop the kids off of school, you come back home. Go for like you're literally dressed anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the hell. Believe me, that's the best thing about going it from. And I've started to figure that out. It don't matter what you have on.
No.
It doesn't matter what your hair looks like.
No.
I go through the neighborhood. I see
you don't need makeup.
No,
you don't need your doll.
No one is judging you for that. No one cares.
Just go for a stroll.
No one cares. But you drop your kids off and literally just have your shoes on in the car. Don't go back in the house. Go challenge yourself to walk down the street and back. That's all. Start there.
It's almost like you could start a timer, like 10 minutes out, 10, and then just turn around and walk back. If it takes you 10 minutes to walk back, or it takes you longer.
If you're taking Bart, park farther away.
Yep.
Don't try and get that front spot. I used to
take the stairs. Don't take the elevator.
I used to challenge myself to do that. It was awesome. And you don't even need to do the stairs hard, but I used to do that. It was always this race with there's like 3 or 4 guys. There was this big race, like could 2-step it. Pyam knows about this.
2 to 3 steps.
Oh, dude, there's
leaping it.
And what we would try to do, and I know all the guys that did it, we do the same thing. You try and beat the people that are going up the escalator. Because people jam to the escalators, and the stairs are usually free.
Yep. Yeah, I remember Chris Christie when she was back in the office. She was literally. She said she was the only one ever taking the stairs. Ever.
I listen to so many of these podcasts now, and I get them all kind of intermixed together. But I think it was a Peter Attia podcast where he was talking about this effect and the amount of exercise that you need to really have an impact on your overall health, especially mental health. And I think that's what the episode it was. And it was a study that was done in Japan where they took office workers and for 20 seconds a day, that was it. 20 seconds a day, they took them, brought them to the staircase and made them go upstairs for 20 seconds, up and downstairs for 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Not a Tabata, just one time.
That's what I thought it was. Tabata. No, it was one time. And then they measured all their markers, like blood markers, blood pressure, and all of those things after 1 month. And the changes were fairly dramatic. They were very noticeable. Yeah.
I wonder if even just going to do that, like the 20 seconds is maybe triggering you to want to maybe do more outside of that 20 seconds.
Yeah, so
like on your
right.
own.
So that's
outside.
that's the other part. Like, so what else did they do
Yeah.
beyond that because they did the
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, they know they've already got a baseline. So what can I do to make that baseline
Right.
improve upon, right? Or
Well, and
improve upon
that's the cool thing about nutrition coaching is when you have a little bit of success in nutrition coaching,
like he said, once you got some momentum going.
You want to do more.
Yeah. It's like that snowball
It is.
effect.
And the same thing here. You have a good workout, you hit a good lift. Ooh, what's tomorrow's workout?
Get those endorphins going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you're an affiliate owner, tag or reach out to Jason Falcon. It's falconfnc.com. Jamie Lee posted it. Did you put it in the chat?
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, but put
in the chat.
I
see.
Put the link in the chat so people can actually go to the link. And then it's a permanent record too.
Let's see. Boom.
And so there's the link and then reach out to Jason. He'll partner with your gym, and he does an amazing job. And the guy's very like-minded. And don't worry about how much money you're going to get and how much money your clients are spending with them.
Get healthier people out of it. Healthier members.
You get healthy members, and they'll keep paying you, and they'll keep coming to you because they want to show off their new fitness.
Yeah.
Their new look, how they feel. And by the way, Tim Diamel. I call him Diamel because Siri calls him Diamel. It's Tim Dimmel at CrossFit Palo Alto. He reached out to me about our fitness coach.
Okay.
When he was training for the games 2 years ago. And Jason did all of his nutrition programming for preparing for the CrossFit Games.
Oh, he did?
Helped get him to the CrossFit Games and perform at the games. Did
That's
all his
awesome.
macro programming.
That's awesome.
And I think his wife, who's an ultra, Tim's wife.
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, Kristen is also working with Jason as well for her
ultra racing.
Yeah, for her ultra racing. Yeah, so he knows how to do that too. It's legit. I wanted to talk to you. Two other things we want to talk about. We have other subjects to talk about today. One that I posted in my email. I talked about it. Focus on the gold. Primarily because there's been relative to the CrossFit Games and the CrossFit quarterfinals, especially semifinal or the Open as well. But there's been a lot of chatter on social media about scoring and rules violations, standards, penalties being assessed.
3,300.
Yeah, 3,300 penalties assessed, which I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, so do I. I think that's awesome.
Such a huge step in the right direction.
Right. So they're doing what people were complaining they weren't doing, yet they're still complaining. Or there's a few people, and a lot of these guys use it for clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
To try and draw views, and I get that. Savan on the Savan podcast, and I think he published it. Actually, I didn't see it on the podcast itself. I saw it when he talked about. I did actually, and then he posted on social media. Was his thoughts were that there's more complaints now on social media than there were in the past, because before people were afraid of Dave Castro. So
are you serious?
Yeah. And I thought, no, that's bullshit. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I think there's something to that. In other words, there was a time at CrossFit when complaining about the CrossFit Games landed you in hot water. And I don't know if that's actually true or not, if that actually happened. Yeah. But I think people felt like I think it was more of athletes and coaches felt like they would be in trouble if they complained about the process.
I remember, we've always had super strict standards here.
Yes.
And I remember back in the day, the concern that somebody, like one of the reasons why we didn't do it in a class was because we didn't want somebody in the class not following the standards the way that the workout was designed to be done. And we were worried about somebody posting it in their social media.
Right.
And then maybe that would end up backfiring on us. And then Diablo would lose the ability to validate scores.
That's right.
Right. So I guess I could imagine the fear behind that. But with this whole new thing on how they're actually reviewing the videos, it just takes away from anybody that says, I'm not really doing it for that reason. I'm just going to get a score in and put something in. No, you have to do videos because they're actually reviewing them all.
Yeah.
That's wild.
They are reviewing videos.
That's wild.
If you are, if your score impacts the other folks, the leaderboard, so that, you know, affects someone going to regional or semifinals and not going to semifinals. But there's indications that some athletes were being given preference over other athletes. And I think people need to completely dismiss those things.
Yeah. Why?
And that's based upon my own kind of personal knowledge of the people that work for CrossFit. And I've known them all. I think almost all of the people that would be involved in this process since the beginning of the games, 2007. And we've never found them to be to offer preference to any particular individual at any time ever, including us. And I'd like to say I'm friends with Dave Castro. I'm friends with Adrian Bosman. You've known Adrian. We've known Adrian for a long time. I know Justin Berg. I've been to multiple events with Justin. Justin, I can text or email Justin. He'll text or email me back. And that's not because of Diablo. It's just because we've worked together since when this was really small.
Been around
since 2005. That's Diablo has the benefit of those long-standing relationships. And but what I can say is that we've never felt like we've had preferential treatment.
No. If anything, I always felt
we did get asked to do an open workouts, but that was when they weren't doing open workouts.
Yeah.
All the other times when they were doing, that was when we had to do the whole damn thing ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. When we had Aaron come in and produce the whole thing.
Produce the whole thing and all, and spend our money on the whole damn thing, which was fun as hell. It was a great experience. It was a great experience. But when Dave was running them and doing them and those guys, I would ask every year, hey, can we do one? Can we do one? We never got one. I couldn't even get L1s here. But anyway, the point being is that we've never gotten any preferential treatment. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's back. Like we almost lost our affiliation when we did the grid thing.
I was going to bring that up.
And we also remember when Christy judged a Masters athlete that came in and did his Masters
overhead squat,
right? And it touched his head, and it was the whole thing was horrible. He had been to the games the year before, and we passed him, but his video showed that the bar was touching his head. Yeah, and then we got a email that said, "Hey, you guys do this again, and you won't be able to." You guys won't be able to host or you won't be able to validate scores,
which is such a huge thing for us because at the time that was 2014, right? It was 2014, 2015. Yeah, 2014. We had 3 teams compete at the regionals. We had 3 or 4 individuals competing. So it's like to lose validating a score would have been detrimental to us.
If you ask CJ Martin, you ask any of these guys, you ask
CJ
Bergeron, you ask any of them, they'll tell you they've never had preferential treatment.
Yeah, I don't know why that would even be a topic of conversation,
but it is, and it's because
for anybody that doesn't know,
it's and I think it's newer people to CrossFit, and they say, well, Danny Spiegel, she used grips and she didn't get penalized. Well, it wasn't a video that she submitted. It was on a Buttery Bros video. But at the end of the day, here's the point that I made is that with 320,000 people doing this and tens of thousands of people doing the quarterfinals, you're going to find issues. It's just inevitable. We run a competition with 600 people in online competition, Road Royalty. It's on a rowing erg. Concept 2 rowing erg, and all of your results are literally recorded by the erg. We actually program the workouts. The athletes program it into the screen to submit their results. They submit the results and have to submit a picture of their screen which shows the results, and it still gets screwed up. Literally 10 to 15% of the scores are
I didn't
wrong.
realize it was that high.
Or with, they'll submit their, like the big
Yeah.
one was, I forget what it was like it was a 1,000 meter, I had 1,000 meter row, and they were submitting, oh no, it was like 200 meter rows anyway.
With the
They weren't submitting their scores for the distances. They were looking on the monitor and picking their scores from their average 500 meter pace. Like just stuff like that. It was. And then there were people that like, oh, hey, sorry, I didn't do the last interval, but I just created an average and I submitted it. Like if at a simple competition using a ERG device that records your score, where you program it in, we give very detailed instructions on how to do it.
Written
If
video.
that gets screwed up, you can't even imagine. You can't even come up with the number of screw ups that are on CrossFit workouts with the complexity, with the floor markers, with
the
everything.
floor mats, the measurements.
Right. And so I give CrossFit a tremendous amount of credit for the
for
work
sure.
that they do to pull off a competition with 350,000 people and then moving them to the next level, and then having to do another 10,000 people who are all submitting videos from all kinds of hairball angles. Shit, we even had our athletes here tell me, "Hey, I didn't video record mine. Can I get the gym Nest camera?"
Oh, you mean the one that doesn't have the recommended or required spot and placement of the camera? So Yvonne, she's doing the Masters qualifier this weekend, and I had her doing a whole mock-up, and the whole reason for that was just to practice the camera aspect, because last year I know that was kind of
an issue.
It's always an issue though, because when you're having to upload it to YouTube and then to provide a video to the game so they can validate it, it's a whole nother thing that I think that people maybe overlook. They're so worried and so concerned about their fitness, their nutrition, their recovery, but at the same time, there's one little detail that you have to have in place in order to be competitive, and that's just following the fucking rules.
Yeah. And so it, just to that point, Yvonne was almost 3/4 of the way through the workout, and Stacy Valise comes up. She goes, "Hey, look at the plug on the clock." And I looked at the plug, and the plug on the clock was barely hanging on. She was about 16 minutes into a 20-minute workout that was brutal, and the plug, and there was no backup timer, and it was barely hanging. So that stuff happens.
It happens.
Right? That stuff happens. And then, so we have to allow CrossFit to have some flexibility to make a determination. Is this person qualified to move on? And I'm going to give CrossFit the benefit of the doubt.
For sure.
Because they've been doing it since 2007. Justin Berg, Adrian Bosman, all of their team of people.
It's not some newbies They
don't give a crap what gym you're at, what your social media following is. They don't even have time to look at that stuff. They couldn't tell you how many followers, who has more followers, whether it's Danny Spiegel or
it just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't. I mean, it doesn't know. And what they're going to say is, did this person show? And yes, I understand rules are important and standards are important, very important. And that's where we want to move toward, is more and more and more. And technology is going to help us get there. Yeah. And I think to be honest with you, I think it's going to be one of the first applications of artificial intelligence.
I'm curious if there was any way that they try to implement that into this.
Oh, I think that would be really easily. And because if I can go into Google Photos, and I can pull up your picture and go, hey, find me all the pictures of Jamie Lee, and I actually have your name on it, and I can show it to you right now. Like I pull up Jamie Lee, and you can show the pictures. And I'll show you this because it's fascinating as hell. And this is just Google Photos.
It's not an AI.
No, but we're really going down a rabbit hole here. But I think it's relevant. Because this is going to be the thing, is the more we can take humans out of the equation.
It's the human error that happens.
Right. Then the better it is. Like, ultimately the human that counts the most is the one that's doing the workout. That's fine. But in terms of judging, like if you could say, hey, all you have to do is film it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, artificial intelligence essentially says, did you squat deep enough? Did the ball go high enough? Did you get, over the bar? Is this person meeting the standards? I think that's absolutely
what I would love to see happen is like at the games, because like in real time competition in person, those, missed reps, having to go back and appeal a rep because the standard was there, but maybe the judge just looked at it from a different angle, a weird angle. Imagine having a sensor.
Right.
In the barbell. in your shoulder, on your shirt, your pants, and your shoes, maybe at your knees. You can literally put that in and see where the range of motion is traveling, right? You can see, did it break below parallel? Did it stand all the way up?
Watch this, right? So you can see this pretty good, right? Let me zoom it in a little more so you can see this. Right. So I've got a zillion pictures here on this and this goes back, years of pictures, right?
Yeah.
But so if I'm doing pictures for Sugar Watt and I say, okay, I want to search for, I'd really like to put up a picture of Jamie Lee or Jackson Miller, right? For Sugar Watt this week, because he's competing this week on the teams. So look down here, and then it has all these people I can look for. But if I go click see all people, it'll show me all the people
and pets.
Right. Oh yeah. And pets if I want. Right. And then I can actually label them. Right.
Oh,
and so
wow.
I go in it. Yeah. So I click Jackson Miller. Boom. And then it'll show me everything with Jackson Miller. I go back and I click, there's Jamie Lee. Right. And so I can click, and there's everything, every picture, even in groups that you're in.
That's wild.
Right. So if we're at this point with picture identification, right, where are we going to be when, I think we're not too far off from having artificial intelligence essentially determine, hey, is that squat, full range motion, those kinds of things. So that way CrossFit can review more videos faster.
Yeah.
And then we can take out the human element of it. But anyway, I don't know, I got way out the subject here. But my point being that we need to trust CrossFit. There is no bias.
Yeah.
And if Danny Spiegel's using straps for her deadlifts, I can guarantee you she takes those straps off, her score is going to be damn close. Okay, will it be exact? No. But she was penalized, I think, 15 minutes for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or 15%. She got a 15% penalty.
Yeah.
And she's still in semifinals. And we want Danny Spiegel.
We want the best to move on.
Here's one. Look, we want the best to move on. And at the end of the day, and that's my point, is that the whole filtration process going from 320,000 down to one man, one woman is remarkable that they're able to get there. And no one will ever dispute that Justin Medeiros and Tia Claire Toomey are not the fittest are the fittest in the world. No one can dispute that. I think everybody agree. Yeah, absolutely they are.
Yeah, it's just, there's no
because
no question.
They made it through that whole process. And the screening gets tougher and tougher because now you're in-person judging and the quality of the judging goes up. Yeah, right? Because you want the best judges at every level.
And the complexity of the workouts.
That's right.
Everything about it.
So trust the process. Don't stress about the details. Someone getting through and someone else, again, not getting penalized, someone getting penalized is not going to affect long-term the CrossFit Games. And it's not going to determine or affect who the fittest person in the world is. Yeah. We will find the gold at the end of the at the end of the process. Yeah. We might get some rocks in there, right, that are going to make it through maybe to semifinals. Someone's going to make it to semifinals. Maybe that should have made it into semifinals. Believe me, the process will fix itself. Yeah. We saw it with Masters.
Yeah.
I'm on a bit of a rant, but we back in the day, it was just all you had to do was the Open.
Yep.
And they took the top 20 to go to the
to the
games.
Do you remember?
They took the top 20 to go to the games back in the day, back in 2011. 2011 and 2011
yes. was regionals. 11 was the first year of regionals.
Masters.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So Masters in 2011, all you had to be was top 20. You go.
Yeah,
it was I think
I didn't even realize that.
Made about 5 week or 6 week. And what that ended up with is you go to the and all the people that were in it, the Masters that were in it, we all knew each other in the age group. We kind of knew how good. And then there would be this outlier that would come in. In the year 2013, I had an outlier in there. And everybody, all the guys were talking about, who is this bro? Who is this bro? I don't know, but he won this workout. Well, we'll see. He got to the games, first workout last, dead last in the first workout, withdrew before the second workout. Like,
that's frustrating.
So it is, sure.
Yeah.
But that's why it's a natural filtration process. Yeah. Like, he's not going to end up they're not going to end up at the top of the heap because the process, once you get to the games, now you're judged.
Yeah.
Right. Now you got eyes are on you.
Yeah.
And the best eyes are on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the process works. It's a little dirty. It's a little ugly in the initial stages, right? The bigger rocks are getting
early too, right?
Like,
like you said, once AI kicks in, like,
people remember this sport is really only 20 years old.
Yeah.
Which is young compared to other major sports.
Could you imagine if they did an AI in the future and they got that dialed in, if they did it live?
Yeah.
So remember when they did the
You start digging into some of the stuff that,
Oh, I know.
You go down
I know.
those rabbit holes with video AI and everything else. You're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no problem.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, they could set it up where it's like the quarterfinals becomes a now live event,
Right.
just
Run
remote.
remote. Run by, with AI judging you.
Yeah, CrossFit AI.
Yeah.
Weird.
Anyway, so that's my issue on my scoring issues is like, don't get mired in the details. Don't worry.
It just comes back down to run your own race.
Right. Yeah. Run your own race. And don't worry. At the games, the top 40 men and top 40 women will be the top 40 men and women in the world.
Yeah. Going to the games.
Yeah. Going to the games.
Yeah.
Top 40 men, top 40 women will end up there, with the exception of, the country allocations of then they're working on that too, right? With the worldwide ranking system. Right now, it's a little bit off. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the people who are there deserve to be there.
Yeah.
And the top 10 athletes, far and away, are the top 10 athletes, fittest athletes in the world. And the top fittest in the world is the fittest in the world. Argument.
There's no arguing on that claim.
No.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah. So let's not get mired in the details. Focus on the gold. Masters and team this week.
Yeah.
Kind
of weird in the layout.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see the layouts yet. Did they publish
No,
them?
they are posting them today.
Layout
So
in terms
the
of
layout-
what? Oh, you mean
so the floor plans are supposed to come out today.
No, you're talking about
I'm
organization.
talking about just like the organization of the timing of the days.
Okay.
Like the team has to go in the middle of the week, and then the Masters are in the weekend.
Yeah, I speculate, and I think we talked about this once before. The reason why they put the team in the middle of the week is because they wanted to give a break in between between the team and the individuals, so that people were doing individual quarterfinals could also do team.
They could participate in both.
Right, so they could recover and participate, because it was too close in the past. And then they couldn't put it on the same weekend as the Masters.
Yeah.
And they couldn't afford to push the Masters any further.
Yeah, because they have Masters, and the age group has
because semifinals.
Well, their semifinals are early May.
Yeah,
so it's
you can't push the Masters too far.
Yeah,
so it sucks in terms of timing for the team athletes, but we're gonna pull together two teams. We have one team that's qualified to be a semifinals contender,
and another team to push.
And we have another team, our Reposado team, that's going to push.
Yeah.
So on the team, our Diablo Añejo team is Christian Boyd, a newer member that has come to us over from, I think it was Brentwood.
Also has a sanctional experience too.
Yeah, he's a damn good athlete.
Yeah.
And Jackson Miller, of course, and then Emily Scott, who's arguably the strongest girl
also
on our gym
semifinal experience on a team.
Yeah, semifinal experience on a team. She's gonna be great. And then she's paired up with Beth Stankovic.
Games experience
on the team.
Yeah.
Tremendous athlete. So that we got an outstanding group of 4 athletes.
Yes.
So they're competing, and then we're gonna have them run head to head with Cole and Sean.
Yeah.
And Kendra and Cynthia.
I think it's going to be a good.
That's going to be fun.
Battle.
That will be really fun.
Yeah.
And so we'll publish those workout times so you guys can come see it, because that will be fun to watch.
That'll be a lot.
Team workouts
comparison
are really enjoyable.
to how the individuals quarterfinals went, where everybody has different schedules and they came in at different times, different workouts. The team aspects can be very different because there's really one team that's competing, like officially.
Yeah.
So if we put out a time like, hey, this is when the heat's going to go off, like.
The heat
we're going to watch just one team throw down, or 2 teams throw down against each other
at the same time.
One team that's actually competing.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot more fun from a spectator standpoint.
Right. And then the Masters will be all over the place.
Yeah.
We start on Friday. The Masters start on Friday.
Friday, you have 3 workouts to get done in a day.
No, we don't have 3 workouts to get done a day.
Isn't it?
No. It's 3 scores.
3 scores. Yeah, that's basically what I meant.
Yeah, I know that's what you meant, but yeah. but everybody keeps saying it's going to be 5 workouts. I seriously doubt it's going to be 5 separate workouts. It'll be 5 scoring opportunities.
Yeah. I think there will be some form of a lift in there, in some way.
Yeah, they'll add a lift in there.
Yeah,
that gives you because it's a lot of volume. So we'll have to get 3 scores in on the first 2 days,
24 hours.
Yeah, and then we get 2 more scores to get in the next 24 hours.
Yeah. So was it like Friday to Saturday at noon? You got to get the first 3, and then
and then so you got to get the rest of them by Sunday.
Yeah,
and done by Sunday. Thank God.
Get your cameras ready and know your YouTube channel. Log in.
The Masters with cameras and stuff just are terrible.
So start practicing now.
I showed Ivana. I said, you get, if you, because she has it screen facing.
Yeah.
You know, when you do screen face, so she can see what's being recorded. I said, Ivana, if you turn it the other way,
Yeah.
you can zoom.
Yeah.
And then you
can blow it out
Yeah.
to like 0.5 and like get the full picture.
And I will tell masters and team, always have a backup camera. Yeah. Just have a backup camera. Because just assume your camera's going to go bad or someone's going to call you or you're not going to have it in airplane mode.
Put it on airplane mode. Don't
just have another camera.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun this week.
It's a big weekend.
Okay. But real quick, let me just since I know we're running late, but next month's progressions, I did want to talk to you about that. We're moving into back squat, high bar, low bar, back squat
macro calendar. Yep.
Yep.
Brand new foundation phase.
Okay.
So on the April, we've got a range of high bar, low bar back squats, and in each one of the sessions on SugarWOD is a link to just a little bit of a breakdown on those, but we can talk about that. And the idea of the high bar versus a low bar, we're starting the new training season over, getting ready for the Open in 2024. Our goal should be to work on improving and striving for virtuosity in our movement patterns. And a lot of times with the squat, depending on the athletes, you might find them, missing that range of motion, that bottom hip crease below parallel with good position, good posture, all that stuff. By doing a low bar back squat and having that as an option for anybody that's very quad dominant and just, has a tendency to, break at the knees before they bend at the hips, right? So if you're setting up for a squat and then your knees go first, we're going right into our quads as our prime mover, right?
Right.
As soon as we can hinge, as we send those hips back, that's setting us up to use more of our posterior chain in our squat, which is something that a lot of people miss out on. Right. And especially if you follow the old habits of don't squat below parallel. Right. So by going into a low bar back squat, it does require a little bit more shoulder flexibility, but at the same time, you're shortening the lever. You're bringing the bar lower down the back, bringing it closer to the hip. So when you do go to that hinge and you start to fold over to that squat, you're not as extended out as far as the lever. Right. So you're not likely to break down and turn into a question mark trying to squat.
Yeah.
But it also helps you facilitate more of your posterior chain. You're getting more glutes and hamstrings because the bar is lower, and you're going to be able to, I don't want to say fold, but you're going to be able to hinge and fold over in a more safer position, right?
It is the preferred position for powerlifters.
Yeah. I mean, you look at anybody that's squatting anything over like 500 pounds, they're not in a high bar back squat.
They're in a low bar back squat. Right.
And that's one way that we can kind of use as an accessory to help build up the strength in the posterior chain in the squatting pattern.
That's right.
So then when we move on into May and we start moving into a high bar specific back squat, we've got a little bit more strength in the posterior chain that we can transfer over to a more vertical position, which then leads into the front squat and the Olympic lifts.
Cool.
So it's all part of that progression. And if you are one of those athletes that has a hard time squatting below parallel, I would recommend play around with this low bar back squat. See this position. See if you can get more emphasis, more recruitment out of the posterior chain.
So PRsAllDay will work the back squat into our programming once a week for the next 4 weeks.
And we're going to be supersetting that with a dumbbell floor press.
Saw that.
Yeah. And the floor press, the big thing on the floor press, and this is something that I think we saw a little bit in this last year when we saw these patterns come up. Always try to emphasize the neutral aspect, right? So we're not trying to do this as a bodybuilding phase. We're not trying to let those elbows out to isolate more of the pec. What I want to think about is when we are setting up, we're getting into more of a neutral stance, neutral position where you think thumbs are up. And as you pull yourself down as if you were holding onto a barbell, right? So there's a little bit of a diagonal pattern. If you've got your elbows out wide, you're coming straight up and down, and that can put a lot of added tension into that pec and the shoulder alone. But when we think about squeezing the shoulder and pull the weight down, we're going to get more stability out of our back, more stability out of our lats and our mid rhomboids and all that area, which then helps progress into a stronger shoulder girdle that will help translate into some of the other patterns that we got coming up.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Should be good.
It's gonna be a good year.
I think people will enjoy the back squats. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else today?
That's it.
Right on. We'll see you guys next week. Oh, next week our guest is, by the way, Harold's going to come on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I saw that added on there.
Yeah, Coach Harold's going to come on. He gives has a significant following on TikTok and on Instagram as well. And he's a product influencer. He's a great coach for us, and he's done some incredible content for us. And so I want him to come on and talk about content production, what he thinks affiliates should be doing with respect to their content on social media. I think that'll be super helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Is he going to be in person, or are we doing another remote?
I think we'll do in person if we can get him here in person.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Till next time.